Hey, everybody, welcome back to another episode of Committed Critics, a pop culture podcast where we're not only committed to our opinions, but also each other. Aww. I am Zachary Wright, and today I am Kevin and Ryan Liss, but I have two special guests this week. Jordan, do you want to go ahead and introduce yourself?
Well, you almost just did it for me, but hi, everyone. I'm Jordan Searman. I've been on here before. I don't know if I'd be the new Kevin or the new Ryan. I haven't decided yet.
Well, considering we're dating, that'd be kind of weird. Anyway,
yeah,
other special guest star. Do you want to introduce yourself as well?
Sure. Hi, I'm Holly Piepenburg. It's great to be here. I don't know if I should go ahead and...
No, you're fine. Yeah, go ahead. And if you have any credentials, any plugs you want to plug right here, go ahead.
Sure. Well, just a little background. I'm a journalist, so that's how I know Zach and Jordan is some behind the scenes college stuff. Yeah.
Yay, college journalism.
And so I now work in DC at a nonprofit journalism organization, the Pulitzer Center, and I also manage the newsletter over at The Objective.
Nice.
Go check it out.
Our one friend with a real job is what we say.
Oh, is that true? Sure.
No, I just made that up on the spot.
I was going to say, so my 9 to 5 means nothing to you.
Yes, correct. You feed me, Jordan, and it still means nothing.
Wow. Rude.
But today we are going to be reviewing High School Musical, the series. I guess season 2 technically, but we never really did season 1. So we will go over how we liked season 1 at some point. But yeah, so let's go ahead and dive into it. So we're going to do our quick spoiler-free thoughts on High School Musical, the series, season 2. But we're going to start off how we liked season 1 and then our spoiler-free thoughts on season 2 and rating it. So Holly, would you like to go first?
Sure. Thank you. So I'll start by saying that, I went in thinking overall the series was going to be really cringy. And I would not be able to make it past the first few episodes. I think I actually watched the first few with Kyler, who's another guest you've had on here before, because he made me. And I was not a huge High School Musical fan growing up, but do love a good musical. So I got hooked pretty quickly. Mm-hmm. And, the first season, really feel good show. And it still is. I love watching it on Friday nights. I'm not embarrassed to say that. It's really chill and funny and cute,
Yeah, for sure.
I genuinely root for the teenagers. And it kind of like gives me a good sense of nostalgia. Like it makes me feel like, oh, we're in simpler times, especially when everything outside is just like, we don't know what's going to happen next.
Right.
Mm-hmm. I will say, I was a little hesitant about season 2 being as good as the first one, given, how the personal lives of the actors might affect the plot.
There's this little album called Sour, if you haven't known yet.
Just a little casual total uprooting of everything. But, I was really happy with it, and I think they dealt with it well. So I gave it a solid 4 out of 5.
Yeah, I agree with you, Holly. Like whenever I think we saw your tweet, it was like, forget your Loki theories. What's your High School Musical series thoughts every week? And we texted you, were like, you watch it too, and you're like, yes, and we're like, what?
Absolutely.
It was such a cool. So in my thoughts, I called it like the water cooler conversations, kind of like when Game of Thrones was good, and everyone would like talk about it, like, oh my god, this, and this. And it was really nice to like have like a little tiny group to talk to everyone about High School Musical series. I came into season 1 just thinking like, okay, it's gonna be a Disney show. It's gonna be fine. But then Jordan and I binged watch it a week after it came out. So we're like we were pretty hooked on it. I was excited for season 2, and became slowly one of my favorite shows to watch weekly. Like having like Loki, this, and like Ted Lasso have been like my favorite shows of the summer so far. Season 2 is just as good, if not better, than season 1. So I think I'm going to give it a good 4 out of 5. Jordan, what do you think?
Ooh, okay. So my opinions are kind of like a combination of both yours. Yeah. So I remember, like very early on before the show was announced that there was a thing going around on social media about them trying to find casting and like holding auditions for a High School Musical reboot. And I remember just reading about it and I was like, this is going to be awful. And then I watched the trailer for the show because it was completely different from those auditions. And I was like, this is going to be so dumb. It looks like The Office mixed with Glee. but Disney-fied, and I don't know how I'm gonna feel about it. But then as soon as Zach and I finished the first episode, we were like, okay, let's watch the second one, then the third, and it just ended up being that we binged the whole series in one night. And this was actually
season 2. After episode 2. It's like, oh, we're in.
Yeah, I was like, oh crap, here we go. And that was actually, we watched that the second week of spring break when COVID hit. So just to give you all a little timeline thing, like that's when we first watched it. And then so for me to prepare for season 2, because I was really looking forward to it, I rewatched the first season and I ended up binging that in a whole day too. I didn't even mean to. It was a Sunday and Zach was editing and I binged the whole series again. It's just overall, I just love this show. Like I love season 2 as much as season 1. And I loved that it was something to look forward to every Friday. Especially when we had our conversations about it. Like I love our little group chat. And I love the representation with all of the characters and the cast as well. I love the songs and the story. Obviously, it can be cheesy at times. It's supposed to be part musical, part Disney. But overall, I love it. And I gave it a 4.5 out of 5.
Ooh, a 90%.
Yeah.
I do want to add, though, like the songs, like, so like we grew up with High School Musical, like the movie, right? Like I know you were a big fan of it, Holly. But like I remember like listening to songs and they're pretty like cheesy pop songs. But I do like how these songs kind of like evolved to an extent to be more kind of like with music now. So that's kind of like neat. So we're gonna go into our spoiler full thoughts. So this is a big old spoiler warning. We're gonna get into one thing we like. So if you have not watched season 2 yet, go ahead and come back to this episode and we'll see you then. All right. So spoilers from here on out.
Woo!
All right, let's get into one thing we liked. So, Jordan, you want to start the first?
Ooh, okay, sure. So, I really, really liked the development of the quote-unquote side characters of the season. So, I mean, like, Gina, EJ, Courtney, Ashlyn, Big Red. Like, I liked how they got a lot more screen time. And I was much more invested in their stories and became way more obsessed with them, especially Courtney and Howie, and Gina and EJ, of course, than I was over Ricky and Nene. And I'm really glad that they did that because it was just, not that I was getting tired of Ricky and Nene, but I kind of was. But I was also listening to Sour every single day. So I think that was just like, I didn't know how I felt. I was trying to separate my personal thoughts about Olivia Rodrigo and Joshua Bassett's relationship versus Ricky and Nene's. And, you know, when they broke up, I was just kind of like, okay, yeah, that makes sense. Or can we talk about Gina and EJ now? Or like Big Red and Ashlyn? Because they're just living their best lives. And I also love how Ashlyn got a lot more screen time because I think she's an amazing voice. And I'm glad that she got cast as Belle. And she got her time to shine. I also love how the East High cast was one big family and didn't have conflicts with each other unless it was something related to their relationships. Mm-hmm. You know, season 1 had the, Wonder Studies. Right, and like, it just, I understand that, like it's conflict and stuff like that, but I liked how they were all just one big team this time, especially with EJ's speech at the end of season 2. It just, I don't know, it just made me, it was wholesome and it made me feel good. I was like, yeah, they all are just one big family now. Like they don't have fights with each other unless it's with their significant other. And it's just, I don't know, it was nice. So that's more than one thing I liked, but it kind of all ties in together.
No, yeah, so you're fine. I think, I agree. I'm glad they stopped with the overused Ricky and Nene. Like we've seen that storyline plenty of times. But yeah, so Holly, do you want to chime in after Jordan just said the team thing? I'm looking at the document, no spoilers, sorry.
Oh yeah, I mean, I agree completely. I'm a big sucker for like the found family trope, and I think this season really continued living up to that. You know, you had Ashlyn and Gina living together, and you know, just their friendships were so special. And I love how the high school characters act, obviously like siblings or you know cousins, but I think my favorite part specifically like within all of those like really strong relationships were how Miss Jen, Ben, and the students interacted. Yeah. I think that like a lot of teenage shows, like even, you know, Disney Channel's old shows really frame the teachers and the school as the antagonist, which, you know, it's realistic. Like who really loves school that much? But it's also really easy. And I loved seeing how much Ben and Miss Jen really were there for their students, especially, you had like Ricky going through issues with his family,
right?
Gina as well. And I don't know, it was really heartwarming. And so I loved those dynamics, especially.
I think, I think the Ben and EJ, like that last little bit at the very end, that almost so got me, where he's like, I got a call from your dad, or I got a call from a school that chimed in because thanks to your dad. And he's like, I'm just trying to do what's right. And like that echoes what Ben told him earlier in the series or season. And that just hit me. I'm like, oh my God, that almost got me right there.
He's making a little future AV nerd. He's going to go study RTD or something.
Oh my God.
EJ will end up at SIUC.
I was going to say, are we going to get a shout out from this show?
Oh my God. But speaking of EJ, I loved him in like Gina's, not like, I put them like quote redemption arcs, because in season 1, like they were kind of like the antagonists or like the bullies or like the cool kids that are like, they're trying too hard. Like they're very ambitious, but like, I kind of want to call them like the Slytherins almost of like season 1, but then they became so much more than that, than what the confines of the 4 houses of Hogwarts are. They easily became my favorite characters of season 2, because even though they're like my least favorite things in season 1, I liked Ricky and Nini taking a back seat to Gina, EJ, and Ashlyn, Carlos, Courtney, and everyone. Like exactly like echoing what you guys said. All these side characters from season 1 were given so much ample time to shine in season 2, and it was done super well. Like the show became very plot driven with the Menkeys in the middle, and then by the end, it didn't matter because they use it all for the character development and like ending the character stories, which is more important than the Menkeys, which a lot of people on TikTok don't understand. So that's been fun to see that on TikTok, where it's like, oh my God, they didn't even do anything with the Menkeys. I'm like, it doesn't matter. Like that was why you didn't see the Beast transformation. Like all you need to know is they did it. Like they got it done.
And the real Mankey was the friends we made along the way.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. That's the whole theme. Like this show doesn't sacrifice its theme or its characters for the sake of the Menkeys. Like, did you guys notice that Derek Huff, like the Zach guy, just disappears at the end of the season? We don't see him ever again.
Yep.
Yeah. So I mean, like that's like the whole point, which I really, really enjoyed this whole season 2. And some of the character writing in this show is very, very tight. Like they did it very, very well, and they stuck true to like the characters. No character did like a whole 180. Ricky got better by the middle of the season, which was thank God, because I was getting really tired of his mopey attitude. But yeah. So anything else you guys want to add into your guys's one thing you liked before we go take a break?
I was going to add to that. Holly brought up something. So I was one of those kids that loved school. I loved learning, and I loved being at school and stuff and interacting. And you got to admit that like this was a lot more accurate, I think, to my school experience, especially because I mean, my story is very similar to Gina's, but I mean, I moved around quite a lot in high school. Especially like I moved right before my senior year started. So it was, everyone has that one teacher that made a difference in their high school career, I think. And for them, like it's Miss Jen and Ben. And I really like that. And I mean, everyone makes jokes and stuff. It's always like the English teacher, the history teacher. For me, my English and history teacher were the same one. So my senior year. So like, it was just, I don't know. It's nice to see those teacher interactions. And Holly, like you said, like it was nice to show that, the school and the teachers weren't the antagonists this time. And I don't know. I think that's what plays into the wholesomeness of the show, is that it actually, it can be cheesy. Yeah. But it also does play into parts of real life. Like, I mean, I did high school theater and stuff, and it was just like a giant family, and I loved every minute of it. And so I don't know. It's nice to see that being portrayed on screen.
Yeah, no, I agree. I'm glad that the high school setting wasn't your typical, kid getting shoved into a locker. Like that's the one thing I hate about like Cobra Kai, for example. It's very much like based off the 80s and like 80s high school culture vibe. Whereas this seems more like when I went to high school, which I'm 22 and they're supposed to be like 16, 17. So being able to relate to them was kind of strange. But like it was still more of what I was accustomed to with high school, not like the big like 80s movies you see and stuff like that. So yeah, I agree. I like that aesthetic and setting a lot more than if it was something different. So with that, we're going to take a quick break, and then we'll be right back to talk about one thing we did not like about this season. stay tuned.
Starting a podcast? Try a Podbean Unlimited hosting plan. It's what we use here at Committed Critics, giving us the opportunity to have our show on Pandora, iHeartRadio, and even Spotify. You can get your first month of unlimited hosting for free on us by going to podbean.com/committedcrits, just like our Twitter, or by clicking the link in the description. Podbean, the easiest, most affordable option to get started in podcasting.
Don't you wish there was a pop culture review site that appealed to cinephiles, both professional and casual? Well, look no further than crpwrites.com. New content such as movie and TV reviews, film essays, and more are released every week by writers who crave for movies like every moviegoer craves for popcorn. CRP Writes is dedicated to making sure no one is wasting time or money where they shouldn't be. After all, you have to be able to buy your popcorn and eat it too. crpwrites.com. Casual reviews with purpose since 2018.
And we're back to Committed Critics. Thanks for joining us. We are still continuing our discussion on High School Musical, the series.
Whoa.
Now we're getting into one thing we did not like. I'm gonna go ahead and start off on this one just because mine's kind of simple. The one thing I didn't like was Lily. I'm not saying not because she's the antagonist of this season. I enjoyed her as that mean girl character and how she would antagonize the East High kids. I loved watching Jordan flip her off every time she came on screen.
I did not like her.
Yeah, I liked her as a character, but the one thing I didn't like was she needed to be more developed. I think we would see more of that in a season 3 if we get it, and that development would be answered. But she's just kind of used to be like that antagonist, and then she goes away. We don't see her, what drives her. Why is she being the way she is? She just goes off and is that kind of obscure force of evil, quote unquote, that they have to conquer or overcome and trying to beat essentially. And towards the end of it, she is used as a device to further Ricky's development, to give people second chances in the end. So that was something I didn't really jive with to an extent because I don't know. I just think if we would have seen what her thoughts were, why she was trying to prove that she is the best, I think we would have gotten a lot more out of that character. Mm-hmm. Also, like I said earlier before the break, Derek Huff just disappears. He just never comes back. He has a duet with Miss Jen and then never shows up again. So that was a little strange. Holly, do you want to go into what you did not like about this season or the show?
Oh, sure. And sometimes I'll preface this by saying sorry if this seems really harsh, but
no, you're fine.
Because I do love Carlos and Seb's relationship in the show and in real life, which is super cute.
Oh, so cute.
I know, but I do think there was room for improvement, just maybe in the writing. I think it's really good, first of all, that they didn't base their whole character arc and relationship on being coming out or not, or being, ostracized by their peers, their family. But they never said gay or mentioned their sexualities.
You are correct. They did not do that.
When they were going through that rough patch or whatever, where Carlos, was with other boys on a family vacation. I think they just said something about Carlos or Seb being the only other person in the school who watches Drag Race.
Yeah.
I'm just say it. Just say they're not straight. And I guess on the flip side, I know labels aren't necessary, and things change, obviously. How they identify now in high school may change down the road. But it's also it doesn't have to be that deep. I think it could have helped a lot of people, including me. If I would have watched it in high school or in junior high, to hear oh, I'm gay and Carlos/Seb is the only other gay person in this school. Which, by the way, seems very devoid of Mormons. Where are the Mormons in Salt Lake City? I think just hearing those words and not just skirting the issue could have made it just a lot, more powerful.
Yeah, I think they would have if they honestly the only thing I'd change is they just say the words I'm gay, not even outright, a statement. It's just in passing. It's well, hey, we're the only two, I understand where you're coming from. They never use the word gay or mention their sexualities, like you said. I think had they done that, and this almost a perfect relationship, of an example of this kind of relationship in movies and TV. but because they skirt around it and Disney's going to Disney, it's very like weird. You're not putting that label to it. So
I will say though that like Disney has done it in previous shows. Because sometimes I would watch Disney Channel if like That's a Raven was playing again.
Yeah.
And I saw like a preview for Andy Mack. And in one of the previews, this was a while back ago, but like one of the characters just flat out comes out and says, I'm gay. So Disney has done it before, so they could have done it in this series. But they just decided not to.
Yeah, I think it's kind of what Holly said. It was they're trying to like just not use the labels and build them off the characters, which was really good. But I think you still need to have that as a part of their relationship because it's important to them as characters and as people.
Yeah.
Yeah. So with that, Jordan.
Okay, so I agree with you, Zach, about Lily. I mean, yes, I did flip off her character every time she was on screen, but that was just her character because the actress did really well with it. But I can't tell whether or not she's being genuine with Ricky when because you know at the last episode of season 2, she confesses that she likes him and all this other stuff, but then she stole his harness, and I just feel like if she actually likes Ricky, then wouldn't you want him to thrive? Like with Howie's speech with Courtney, he was like, I'm blown away by you. Like, you are amazing. You are intimidating. And it kind of scares me, but I like that feeling. And he still came to her performance. And like, I feel like if Lily genuinely liked Ricky, even though they went to different high schools and even though they were competing against each other, like, wouldn't you want him to thrive? Wouldn't you want him to be successul if you genuinely liked him? But I don't know. And they're 17. Maybe they don't think like this, but I don't know.
No, yeah, you're fine. Let me chime real fast. I think it's like the opposite of Courtney and Howie's relationship, right? I think that's the reflection we're seeing. I think had we seen what Lily was going through, she might be insecure about it, and maybe she has never gotten a guy before, and so she's very kind of like Gina, how she's never had a boyfriend before, and so like she was very scared to tell Ricky that, and by causing detriments to his performance, maybe that'd get him to come to North High, for example. Like it'd be like a sabotage to try and get him to like, man, East High isn't that great. I'm gonna go to North High instead. Like, dumb example, lazy writing. Yeah, sure. Just me spouting off at 9:30 in the morning off the top of my head. But I totally agree with you. I think had we gotten that, we would have definitely fleshed her out a lot more. So.
So with that too, this is kind of a nitpicky thing. I wish the episodes were a little longer. Just because I feel like the songs took up some time for that. I mean, the songs, I've listened to them outside of the show, and they're only like 2.5 minutes long, which isn't that long for a song, but it's just when the episodes are, like 27 minutes and you have 2 songs that take up a good portion of that. Like, I don't know. I wish the episodes were a little longer so we got more dialogue or like an extra scene or something. Yeah. Just so the songs weren't a huge part of it. And I also kind of wish Ben's confession at the end, I wish it didn't feel as rushed. Like, I'm glad he said it, and I'm glad that he, like, Miss Jen knows, but I don't know. Like, I just kind of, I wish it either should have been, like, more of a grand gesture, or it should have just been like, well, it depends on you and how you feel about us and stuff. Like, I don't know. It felt kind of weird with the placement of it. I think it, like, I don't know. Maybe I was thinking it would be like Gina and EJ at the end where they're like, oh my God, like, you got the wrong intel. Like, can you be my first kiss? But I don't know. They're adults and Ben's very logical. So maybe that's how it was supposed to be. But
well, I think it's supposed to show the difference between Ben and what's Ricky's dad's name? Michael?
Oh gosh.
I have no idea what it is.
Ricky's dad.
Ricky's dad. Rick Sr. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh God.
I think it's the difference between like Ricky's dad and Benjamin. Like, Ricky's dad would do that big gesture, but Benjamin is Miss Jen's friend first and would like respects her enough to be like, look, like, this is here. Like, if you want to do it, or like if you want to pursue that or not. Like, I think it was a good placement. I think it could have been placed somewhere else in the episode and had in that, like how you said, the episode been a little bit longer. For sure. Also, I just realized, did they play the entire lengths of the songs in each of these episodes?
Like from their recordings?
Yeah. So like, did each song, was it the entire song when they played it in the episode, or was it like cut down?
For the Beauty and the Beast ones, those were
Yeah.
cut down, but
Okay,
like the
okay.
original songs, those were the full length.
Because I realized that when we listened to it in the car last night, Jordan, I was like, wait a minute, did they play the entire song of each like, new song?
If it's an original song, they play the whole thing. But like the Gaston song, when they were rehearsing it, that was cut down.
Sad.
The the Be Our Guest, that one was cut down as well.
Okay. Yeah, I just 2 minutes, like you said, 2 minutes is a lot for a TV show, so I didn't realize they. Also, the one thing I do want to add in right here, that little like cute montage at the end, I wish that would have been in this like episode.
Oh, with the where they sing "You Are the Music in Me."
Yeah, like
that was
I'm
cute.
very confused why that wasn't in. Like, I get it was kind of show like the cast had become like very close together, but I don't know, having it tagged in at the very end after the credit roll was kind of strange to me.
Mm-hmm.
I would have much preferred that to the weird slow motion final song about second chances. I don't know. I liked the song. I liked the harmonies were great. But it was a little, I don't know.
The slow mo seemed very dramatic for what it was.
It was a little cliche, but you know, that's the show and I'll still love it.
Yeah, I agree. So with that, we got a little bit of time left. Do we want to pick a favorite song of what in the series?
Okay, or in the series or each season?
Oh.
Do one from season 1, do one from season 2.
Okay. Hang on,
Jordan,
I
you
gotta
go first.
remember the title
Because
from the one that from.
I gotta look up season 1 High School Musical series songs.
I can start with the season 2 while you guys are thinking.
All right, yeah,
Okay.
you go ahead and do
Want
that, Holly.
to.
Yeah.
Okay. I loved the like 1, 2, 3
Yes!
girl power song.
Yes,
It's
I
so
listen
cool.
to that all the time.
I was definitely like a little tipsy when I watched that episode
Yes.
too. And they came on the screen and I was like, oh my gosh, where do I get all of these outfits?
Yes.
I want to sing it's a trio song. I was about to say
Yeah.
duet, but I want that with my friends. Like that is so cool. And I wish we could have like seen more of that friendship too. But yeah, I love that song. Really cute. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I that song is really awesome. I love listening to it too.
I listen to it so I have that. Okay, so my season 1 is Born to Be Brave, which was Nene and Courtney's little girl power one. And then 1, 2, 3 was my favorite. I also liked Dancer's Heart from season 2. That was Gina's song during Carlos's, what was it? What did they call
Birthday.
it? Yeah, just Seb's
Or
birthday.
no, it's Quinceañera.
Was it a quinceañera? So I really liked that one too. But 1, 2, 3 just hits different. Like it was giving me some ABBA vibes mixed with like Cheetah Girls. And I loved all of their outfits. Like I would love to do that as a Halloween costume. Oh my God. It was just so good.
I'm down, Jordan.
Yes.
Let's do it.
Okay. And then like I don't know, I listened to that one, Born to Be Brave. I listen to those when I work out and like or on my drive home from work, and I'm just like, yeah, like it just picks me right up. I love both of those songs. It's so good.
I agree. I like the Born to Be Brave from season 1. That's probably my pick as well. I did like Second Chances a lot from season 2. The last song, the weird slow mo. I did like that song though. That song was very well performed. A couple honorable mentions. I don't know why I like "Granted" a lot by Olivia Rodrigo.
Really?
Like, I don't know what it is, but it's that dramatic turn she makes and the chorus hits for some reason. It's in slow mo. I'm like, I don't know why. It just seems like, ooh, okay, this is like look at a little like Avengers moment almost. And then I like The Climb that Seb did, like the cover of
that cover.
The Climb. That was also very, very beautifully done.
They did the full version of that too. I just realized that in the show.
They did do the full version of that. So let's go into our final thoughts. Jordan, you want to go first?
Sure. Okay. So I'm so glad the show is so much better than I thought it would be. I am so happy they did it the way that they did. And it wasn't trying to be an exact copy of the original High School Musical movies. Because I was obsessed with the High School Musical movies. Like I had a High School Musical themed party for my birthday one year. I had a shirt that had a heart with Troy on it. Like I freaking loved these movies. And I'm so glad that they didn't try to just redo it. Like we're getting a lot of reboots now, like with iCarly and I'm trying to think of other ones that like there are a lot of reboots that they're trying to bring back. And I'm so glad they did not try to do that. Be like, oh, we're going to reboot High School Musical, but make it more modern. And they just didn't do that. And I'm so happy.
If
the
I
story
can
is
chime
great.
in right here, Jordan, real fast. There's a difference between a reboot and a revival. And we did an episode on difference between reboots and revivals. In High School Musical, the musical series, I would classify as a revival.
Ooh.
Like Cobra Kai or like God of War 2018, where they like there's content before, like but you don't need to know that older movie or older content before this new series. I dare say you can go into this series without having watched High School Musical, the movies, and still be fine, and maybe like this even way more. Anyway, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to chime in. I wanted to plug Committed Critics right there. Continue, Jordan.
plug. But yeah, so the story's great. The music is catchy, and it's one of the most diverse casts in television today, and I think even ever. Especially too, it's a great LGBTQ plus representation, because I think half of the cast in real life is part of that community, which I think is awesome. And I just think this show is one that anyone could enjoy. So like whether you're in middle school, high school currently, college, just graduated from college, or you know, been out of college for a couple of years, like it's just one of those things that like everyone could enjoy, and you just got to get your head in the game and watch it.
Love it.
Yes.
I love it. Holly?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I agree with everything you said, Jordan. It's great. I think it's like a crowd pleaser. I don't know. Even if someone's like just to watch it to kind of make fun of it, I think it's good. Like I could watch it with my 18-year-old sister. I could watch it with my 7-year-old sister. And I would be fine with watching it again. I want another season, but I think after 3, we could cap it, because I don't know. I'm really impressed by all the young talent in the show, and I would really love for them to be able to leave this contract, focus on their own, you know, new projects.
Yes,
and
I agree.
I mean, I definitely support that, and I'm sure a lot of other people would support that too. It was just so good to see all these like new faces, and you know, I don't know. I'm hoping that, I think we've already kind of seen this, like we're getting away from the Disney star terrible like downfall that a lot of people go through, because they're stuck in these like 10-year contracts. And yeah, I'm really excited to see what they'll do next. Until then, I will definitely be rewatching the seasons every time I need something wholesome, as Jordan said.
Yes.
This is a good, like, heartwarming, like, comfort show. Like this and like the new like Monsters at Work show, like, have been my comfort shows, and I love it so much. Yeah, honestly, this show is super fun to watch with very satisfying payoffs to all the characters. I do hope we get a season 3 so we can flesh out just a little more of those lingering questions, like Lily, like Ben and Miss Jen, like what EJ and Gene are going to do. And it's supposed to be set during the summertime, is what they're setting up to be. So I think that would be fun. But the way the season 2 finale ends and functions, it does it super well as a series finale, which I'm okay with. I'm content with how it wrapped up all of our characters' journeys into one little bow. Like I said earlier, that TikTok people are very like upset what happened, but all these characters like they're put to bed. They've had their stories end in a very like good and like concise way, I think. But yeah, I think that's what's more important than trying to get another third season out there, because after, I think a third season would be perfect just to like give us one more little, like, because Jordan said last night she needs an epilogue, and I think that a season 3 would be very, very good for those characters. But yeah. So yeah. Any other thoughts, guys, before we close out?
I'm gonna miss like all of us talking about it every week.
We'll have to find something new.
Holly, watch Ted Lasso.
Oh, I know. I'm gonna commandeer someone's Apple login.
Please watch Ted Lasso. We'll finish The Umbrella Academy, and you start watching Ted Lasso, and you will love it.
No, her show was Cobra Kai. That was our deal.
Oh, I gotta watch
right.
that too. Yeah. No. I have my marching orders.
Yeah.
That's fair. Holly, do you have any plugs you want to plug before we sign off?
Sure. Thank you. Definitely go check out objectivejournalism.org. We're on Twitter too. If you like journalism and you'd like to see it be more inclusive, that's what we write about.
Okay.
Journalism about journalism and how it kind of does not favor people who are underrepresented, and how we can go about changing that. So that's kind of my little side project. Would definitely appreciate if you just give us a follow on Twitter, or I'm at too. Would love to interact with people on there. it's kind of unprofessional, but I have a lot of fun. So it's just at Holly Piepenburg. And I'm sure my name will be spelled maybe in
we'll put it in the
this
description.
episode.
We'll take care of it, yeah.
I'm not going to spell it all out, but just thank you guys so much. This has been so fun. And I really hope people watch this show.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, thank you for coming, Holly. It's always been a blast to talk about the show with you the last couple of weeks, and it's been so fun. And yes, guys, go check out The Objective. They do some really good stuff over there, all right? But until then, so you guys can follow us on Twitter at Committed Critics, COMMITTEDCRITS. We are also on YouTube as spelled Committed Critics, just like the show's name is. You can follow us on Patreon where we're trying to fund our expenses and get some new content out there for you guys, experiment some new stuff. Shout out to our current Patreons, Davey Peppers from Game Mechanics, Ryan Kowalkowski from Ryan Plays Drums, Andy Phillips from Andy Phillips, and Jody Wright. Thanks, Mom.
Yay!
Special shout out to our sound engineer, Jordan Smearman, and we will see you guys next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.